Have you heard of the story of the sword of Damocles? Have you heard of that?
Never.
It's an old story. I think it's ancient Greek. It's very, very old. And it's a story about a king who did a lot of crazy things, a lot of brutal, horrible things to come to power. And once he came to power, he could no longer rule fairly or justly because he would look weak in the eyes of his enemies. So he continued to do unfair and unjust things. And the king, Damocles, was sitting on his throne. And all around his throne, he had gold, he had beautiful women, he had fruits, he had everything a man could desire. And his servant of many decades, 30, 40 years, said, I can't imagine how it would feel to sit in that throne. I've seen you in that throne for all of this time, and all I can imagine is the feeling of just sitting on that throne and people adoring you. I can't possibly imagine it. Damocles said, the things I have done to get here, the things I've done to take my place on this throne, I mean, it doesn't feel the way you would imagine it. But tomorrow, I'm going to let you sit in the chair. So the slave couldn't sleep. The servant was awake all night, imagining the day he's finally going to sit in the throne and be able to grab fruit, grab titties at random in this golden chair. He couldn't possibly imagine how amazing it's going to feel. But Damocles wanted to replicate the feeling of power, because what happens when you're powerful is that people want what you have. So Damocles hung a sword by a single horse's hair above the throne. And when the servant sat down, for the first few seconds, he was ecstatic, he was happy until he looked up and he saw the sword. And he started to panic and feel uneasy, because he realized that although you have all of the worldly goods around you, still there is the things you have done to get there. Do you understand? It haunts you from the past and is hanging over your head, and at any moment you can die. And the slave didn't want to be in the chair anymore, and he gave Damocles the throne back. That's the sword of Damocles. Now, I've been living that life for a while, but the difference between me and everyone else is, when I look up at the sword, I appreciate its beauty. I see the glimmer of the sword in the sunlight. I think, isn't that beautiful? Maybe one day it will fall. Probably look pretty beautiful as it falls just before I die. That's why I am where I am. That's why I've done the things nobody else can do. That's why I live the lives nobody else can live. Well, everyone says to me, goes, oh, Andrew, I want your life. You couldn't do what I've done. I've told you all what I've done, and you still won't do it. You can't do what I've done because you couldn't handle being me. The sword would frighten you. I've learned to fall in love with the sword. It's fine that's over my head. People have tried to kill me before. There are people in the world who are actively planning to kill me right now. That's fine. All I can do is prepare to make sure that I don't make it easy for them.